Tran, let's talk
Yes.
about symptoms.
Okay.
When you were first diagnosed, what were the symptoms you noticed?
So I had some symptoms before I was diagnosed. One of them was stiffness in my arms and legs. So I couldn't use my right hand very well, so I couldn't write very well. And just movement of my arm was very stiff,
So it started on the right-hand side.
right side.
So I had something similar. I had trouble with my right-hand side and difficulty writing, difficulty lifting this arm.
Yes.
Yeah, so it sounds very similar to you.
Yes. And what other symptoms do you have?
So the other things I had in the early days were, I didn't realise it at the time, but I had a bit of constipation, a bit of sleep disturbance, and I had problems with my eyesight as well. I had something called diplopia, which is where you get double vision. You see kind of two of everything. And what was interesting was it was an underlying problem I'd had since birth, but my brain had always compensated for it. But once I had Parkinson's, I couldn't compensate for it anymore, and I started to see two lanes on the motorway, two sets of people on the tube, all sorts of stuff.
Did your Parkinson's medication help with that?
Yes, it did, yeah. But what else did you have to start with?
I also have stiffness in my neck and shoulders, a lot of tension in my back as well. So I get a lot of pain in the mornings.
Did you ever have tremor? Because obviously people most commonly associate tremor with Parkinson's.
No, I don't have that, but it is a common myth that all people with Parkinson's have tremors.
Yes, I had a bit of shaking in the early days, but I haven't really had any since. I have really what they call bradykinesia, the slow movement, and the stiffness that you mentioned is one of the main
I
things.
have the same. Do you suffer with sleeplessness or not being able to sleep?
Yes, a lot of sleep problems. In the early days, I sometimes used to sleep for 1 or 2 hours a night and just be like a car crash the next day. But interestingly, it's actually got better over time. I think my body has adjusted to the medication and adjusted to the condition. So last night I had about 7 hours sleep, which is actually quite good. What about you?
I have terrible problems with sleeping. I'm still trying to work on that at the moment. So some days I sleep for too long and then I'm in pain when I wake up, or I'm sleeping for 4 hours and then operating like normal. Or some days I'm up 24 hours and I can't sleep at all.
Interesting. So sometimes I wake up with painful legs and feet, but it doesn't happen all the time. It only happens occasionally. It's just, it sort of comes and goes.
Yeah.
Same with, I get these sort of cramps sometimes as well. Do you get those?
Not all the time. I sometimes get something called restlessness in my legs. So when I'm trying to relax and trying to sleep, my leg would just move by itself, or find it hard to relax my legs so I can sleep. So that's the problem.
Do you ever get what they call dyskinesia, the sort of jerky involuntary movements where you twitch and stuff like that?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes.
What about just generally walking around? Do you have problems with your walking? And
It depends on the time of day and when I've taken my last medication or what situation I'm in. So when I'm feeling more anxious, I feel like I can't walk very well. When I'm more
that's
anxious.
interesting. So the more anxious you are, the worse the symptoms.
Yes, or if I feel a bit embarrassed or nervous, I slow down quite a lot.
Yeah, so I don't really get that, but I do have some problems where I shuffle a bit when I'm not medicated. I haven't done this thing called freezing yet, which is where you kind of can't move, but I can sort of feel it's there, that at some point when the condition progresses it might actually start to happen.
I had that problem when I was at work one time, where I'd walk to one point of the store and then I try to move backwards or move to a different area.
Parkinson's has a lot of different symptoms, and what's interesting is it varies a lot across people, but also over time as well. Things come and go and you get new things all the time, so it's a very unpredictable disease.
Yeah, I mean, I say to people who's newly diagnosed, like, your symptoms are your own symptoms. You may not necessarily get all the symptoms that's listed.
Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, I think that's really important. There's lots of stuff you read about, lots of bad things that could happen, but you'll only get some of them.
Yes.
But how to predict which ones you get is very hard.
It's very day-to-day basis, really. So.
If you're interested in finding out more about Parkinson's, subscribe for a new video every Thursday.